words in the motorsports lexicon stir the soul of a racer more than the Brickyard. For over a century, it has beckoned racer and fan alike, and this weekend it welcomes for the first time the only true global GT championship. Welcome to round 2 of SRO's Intercontinental GT Challenge, powered by Pirelli, the inaugural Indianapolis 8-hour. Hi, everybody. I'm Greg Creamer, delighted to be joined once again by Calvin Fish here in the booth. Down in the pits and on the grid is Ryan Marine. There's a good look at downtown Indianapolis. We're only about 5 miles away in an absolutely spectacular location. However, what you might notice, folks, there's some clouds around, and there have been sprinkles. And in this day and age, when you're talking weather, it's generally which app are you using. But we've had a fair amount of convergence. It's chilly, low to mid-50s right now, and top of the hour, we are anticipating rain. And Calvin, on this track, nobody has much experience on this venue, and it has proven to be an exciting one anyway.
It's been a great weekend so far. We've seen this racetrack really race well. You look at the infield sectors there, and it really allows a lot of side-by-side action, so we expect more of the same today. As you said, weather is the big concern, but when we look at this racetrack in detail, it's a fast start. You do the run across the yard of bricks, the big thump, you know you're on a good one here. Big, deep braking zone down into turn 1 there through that green first sector. Then it gets very technical. Hullman Boulevard starts sector 2, long stretch there, another good overtaking opportunity into that tight left-hander. Then there's really good flow to finish off this lap. It's just shy of 2.5 miles and 14 corners.
Now the rain is supposed to abate, might even be starting to clear up as we get into the final few hours of this 8-hour race. And right now we've got a special treat for you. If you've never seen what it's like to race around this track at speed from the driver's view, well, we're going to give you a very exciting lap by one of Porsche's up-and-coming runners.
Hello, this is Max Root, and this is your Porsche track preview in the 911 GT3R. We're approaching turn 1, about 163 miles an hour in 6th gear. We're going to be braking around the 400 board, down to 2nd gear, really focusing on rolling the speed here, opening our hands, and maximize the exit for turn 2. Setting up for an important turn, turn 4 here. We're braking, turning in early, arcing the car, and opening our hands to get a large exit as we go over 5 and 6 chicane. So this is a great place to set up for a pass as we're in the race here. We're going to be looking forward towards the 4 board as well, down to 2nd gear for turn 7, rolling the speed as well, opening our hands, moving all the way to the exit curb, floating the speed between our 8 and 9 here, not coming out of the throttle completely, braking, doing a 2nd gear, opening our hands, and going onto the banking here at Indianapolis. This is a good place to get a good draft right into turn 10, where we break in around the 300 board, down to 2nd gear, and opening our hands up as a tricky turn, turn 13. Braking, rolling the speed, locking the diff, opening our hands, and approaching the start-finish line at Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
So you have to adjust on the fly, and now it's about time to adjust and fly as these conditions are changing. Wipers are on. The Acura NSX, the official safety vehicle of SRO Motorsports America, down into pit lane and bringing the field up to the green. AUGUSTO FARFUS. Well, you can see those wiggles out there already. The windshield wipers are now on in earnest, and the field coming up. Right at the yard of bricks is where that green flag will fly. There's the starter stand. It's in hand, and we are racing.
Look at the rain.
And the American flag flies as the rain starts to pick up significantly. Oh boy, this is going to be fascinating down into turn 1.
On slick tires here, everyone's going to be scrambling for grip, looking for where the sweet spot is in the racetrack. That right Motorsport Porsche down to the inside, just misses the Bentley. Everyone through there safe. Orbital in a big move. He's made up 4 positions on this opening corner. And the 82 Bimmerwald red and white machine at the back of the pack. Tomczyk looking to the inside of Hinman there.
Oh, and the number 6 of Trevor Beck has gone around the Vital Speed Ferrari. Going to get it turned, and the rain really starting to pick up here, Cal.
Not sure if that right rear was had full pressure. Looked to be a little bit low on the right corner, so maybe he took a tap somewhere. Farfus in the lead. Dane Cameron pressuring him.
Trent Hinman had tried to go around the outside of the 35 of Tomczyk. Couldn't get that done and slotted back into 4th.
Big move from Pepper. He's up to 5th in the Bentley.
Well, he needed to get that done before this track gets really wet. Again, we're not convinced that this track is going to really suit that car in the damp. It's more the car, not the track in terms of the weather. That lead trio right now easing away just a little bit.
The real key in these conditions, Greg, if you're too careful and you kind of don't really get any energy in the tires, that kind of rebounds on you because you're not getting the tire temp to get the grip. FARFUS there up and over the curb a little bit. Dane Cameron's car is coming alive. He's gapped Tomczyk here in the second of the BMWs, the white BMW. FARFUS to pit lane. Tomczyk comes as well. They think they need to switch to slicks. Cameron stays out.
As does Hinman, and trying the outside is that Bentley right now, making a big move around the outside of Jordan Pepper as well. So the two Valkenhorst BMWs opting to come in, and I'm not sure how many other cars are going to be able to stay out for long if it continues to rain like this. A few more cars now following them in to pit lane to make these changes. There's the Valkenhorst pits.
Well, the key to this is how quickly can you get that tire change done. They're going for the long stop, refueling. Now they're going for the tires. So they haven't spent 112 seconds on pit lane with this stop.
And to me, that's a pretty smart move. Why not top off the fuel? It just opens up your strategic window a little bit, doesn't it?
It does. You just topped up. You can stretch this next stint a little bit further. The key for me is, Greg, I don't think it's going to rain for long. So
right.
I anticipate these drivers being back in maybe in the next 15, 20 minutes. The radar shows a very brief period of rain. It is heavier than we anticipated, but I don't think it's going to last long.
And I see absolutely no surprise, obviously these pit stops for the GT World Challenge America contenders in that championship. You know the number one, Cal, this Ferrari, the Hublot entry, is going to be extremely cautious and conservative in every way, shape, and form, at least for the first couple hours of this race. And the 04 car, I think, sort of following form, they want to make sure they're in it in case anything happens. But let's see what happens this time. Cameron and Pepper, they are just gone, obviously. Oh, Dane, that car's really skating down into a 12. It is really slick. Is he staying out?
I think he is. I think they've made the call, just try and survive these conditions. I love what Jordan Pepper's doing in searching for the grip. Typically, the regular racing line is very polished, very smooth, a lot of oil on it. You get more aggregate when you run the push and when you run offline. You see Jordan Pepper doing a great job of exploring this racetrack for the first time in these conditions. Getting down to the stint lengths. Maximum stint length for a driver is 65 minutes. Maximum continuous stint length is 3 hours, so just shy of 3 stints here today. Getting to those pit stop minimums, if you do just tires, you can only spend 74 seconds on pit lane. If you do refueling and one tire, same condition applies. If you do a full service stop, well, you got to spend 112 seconds minimum. And look at this racetrack, Greg. It is drying in spots. So now we see the Bentley and the Acura of Cameron has put those BMWs a lap down as they now exit pit lane. So FARFUS and Tomczyk will be on the move. They should be a little bit quicker in these conditions. They've got to make up a lap.
They got to get through, and if that rain does abate and these slicks come back into real form, this strategy for Cameron and Pepper is going to prove brilliant, obviously, and a nice move, as you would expect, around the outside by the number 34 of FARFUS.
And again, I think the key is how long is it going to stay in these conditions. So if Dane Cameron and Jordan Pepper can just hang on right now, they'll be in great shape, because suddenly you're going to have 2 more pit stops potentially for the BMWs compared to you just staying out in these sketchy conditions.
Boy, Tomczyk squared up turn 10, got underneath Jordan Pepper, and as Pepper went to the throttle, the car snapped out. So definitely very sketchy in the grip. Those rains are going to be paying big dividends at least for now. And now Dane, it's a bit of a surprise when you think it might be lightening up in a little bit.
That really surprises me. I'm not sure if he had a big moment and just said, I can't control the car any further, but I'm really surprised at this, that they're coming in.
Team Valkenhorst BMWs, and look at that, and there is the 75 as it picks up the race lead right now. And look at those conditions in this rain, Calvin.
Oh, this is something that no one anticipated. No. It's a deluge right now. It's almost going to get to the point that they may lose the racetrack in terms of keeping it safe. We still have cars out there like this Aston Martin. He has not made a pit stop, so he's on slick tires. And this was the strategy call by the Sun Energy Group to bring that car in on the formation lap, get him on wets immediately.
Been watching the laps that he's been running, and relative to the other people, the BMWs are a little bit faster, but Conrad doing a nice job. And boy, this is just treacherous. That's Trevor Beck again struggling.
I wonder if he's been in the wall, Greg.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
looks like that left rear corner may be damaged.
Yep,
Right front is,
that right front's up.
Got some crossweight off. Something's happened here.
Well, this is that corner we talk about. You just got to get the run up onto the speedway, and ooh,
you can see he just had a lot of steering input in the car on the arc he was running, and that just turns it, clouts the left front.
The Acura NSX safety vehicle down into the pits, and Matt Dalton is going to be bringing the field up. He's in that restart zone. He can go whenever he wants at this stage. He's a little cautious going to the throttle. The cars behind him are coming up, but for those GT3 cars, you got to wait till the yard of bricks. Now you can go. And Cameron makes the move down to the inside, and you can see already, even though the rain's abating, Cal, look at the spray behind these lead three.
Yeah, and the other problem is you just cannot see these cars around you, Greg. So if you've got someone down the inside, look at the Bentley there trying to thread the needle towards the back of this little pack coming into turn one. Winkelhock there down to the inside.
Boy, and Tomczyk doing a nice job threading the needle. And look at around the outside, Jordan Pepper trying to make the move on Winkelhock as they come up now in that number 2 Porsche of Andrew Davis.
Let's see if Bentley have found the secret sauce in these wet conditions. They were worried about putting wet tires on this car this weekend in terms of how the car would perform. Pepper there, shortcuts turn 5 and 6. Key is you got to touch those blue and white curbs and not be called on a penalty there.
Here's that quick left-right flick through 5 and 6. I really like that part of the track.
I do, and I like the pace that BMW has. Been very sporty in terms of the straight line speed. Tomczyk flicks down to the inside. That's going to be dicey there as all of the cars get to apex. Dane gets alongside the number 75 Sun Energy Mercedes and clears him, as does Tomczyk, but it was close.
Oh boy, Tomczyk coming across the bows like that. There was not much room.
Dane Cameron is having to slide that Acura a little bit more than the BMW. That seems like it's sticking a little bit better, and that's going to be important. Oh, tire down on the left rear here. Now, I don't want to jump to conclusions too early here, but sometimes if you start to overheat a tire like this, they'll be on wets, and if the track is drying out, and behind the wheel of the 93 right now, it is Trent Hinman still.
Yeah, still Trent.
If you don't start looking for that water to try and cool it down, Greg.
Yep. Well, the bigger concern here is if that tire now comes apart and starts flailing and it rips up bodywork, and it's tough. You've been going so fast for so long to just really slow it down. But if he's got, I'm sure they've got some spotters that maybe not necessarily out around the track, but at least watching the TV feed, and they see that tire starting to come off the carcass flailing like that. You're telling him, slow it down a little bit. I know it's tough, but slow it down.
Long way to go, too. He's just starting sector 2 here down the back stretch. I'll be honest with you, if you're going to do the long stop, change everything.
Well, I just heard somebody yell, let's do all 4. So
change at the front.
Look at that.
Tomczyk is around Cameron, and now he's trying to put a lap on the 20 Porsche.
More importantly, maybe as well, get that Porsche between himself and Cameron. As well, give himself a little buffer here.
Let's have a look here and see where the pass may have occurred.
What an aggressive move by Tomczyk.
Yeah, he'd been probably thinking about that one for 2 or 3 laps. Didn't want to give the game away and just slice it down the inside. Just seems like that BMW was carving some of that more low-speed technical stuff a little bit more effectively. This is where I'd love to see the onboard of this man behind the wheel.
Yes.
The man, Manfred, behind the wheel. Marcus, excuse me. Yeah, this is going to be sketchy. I mean, tires will have come out of the blankets. They'll have as much temperature as they can put in them. And the key is you need to start to load that tire. So you want to be careful as Cameron now making the same call. Fuel going in.
It'll be interesting to see here the dynamic. They go to the slicks and they say this car is so good in the damp conditions on slicks.
Cameron jumping out. Mega stint by him.
Yep.
No mistakes. So easy to overshoot or make a critical error. He's loving this opportunity to get behind the wheel of this GT3 Acura NSX once again. He had 7 victories last year with the real-time racing program.
So another championship in the works for Martin Fuentes, who has had a number of AM category championships. This year the team moving to Pro-Am. And, well, I'll tell you, he has delivered in that category as well. Do have to pay tribute. His full-season teammate, Rodrigo Baptista, not able to run here this weekend. An able substitute in Alessandro Balsan. But it's really a shame in many ways that Rodrigo won't be able to share in this championship should they absolutely clinch it.
A short stop routine here. Getting in the pit stop regulation to run down pit lane costs you 51 seconds. And if you want to do a short stop, you're only allowed to be on pit lane for 73.99. So 74 is longer, that's the no-go land. So there's a possibility of doing 4 tire change. You can't take fuel if you do all 4 tires, or you can just simply top up with fuel. That's what they've done with AUGUSTO FARFUS. Now, we know he's got to be in by the time we get to 5 hours to go, because the maximum stint length continuous for a driver is 3 hours.
Very good point here. And interestingly, you can do actually on that short stop, you can do fuel and 1 tire. But if you do 1 tire, generally that just upsets the balance of the car hugely, doesn't it?
It typically could. If you had a cut down tire, for example, like you saw with him, and they were kind of a little bit of confusion during that pit stop. We didn't just see it there, but they were thinking about maybe just doing 1 tire and sending him quickly, then elected to do all 4 ultimately.
Quick shot there for a moment of James Clay in the GT4 class leading number 82 BMW, and now Fuentes is in, and this is a full service stop, it looks like. All 4 tires and fuel for the Hublot Ferrari as they continue their quest for a championship here in North America.
That tire again, I believe.
Yep.
Left rear, that's the one that's getting loaded. That's the problem area.
This is the second one for this car.
And I think if I'm making a call for any of the other competitors out there, they're seeing that occur. Now, it can be down to your car setup, what you're running in terms of rear camber and the like. But nonetheless, it's certainly a big signal as we now see the 7 car slowing.
Well,
was there an incident between the 3 and the 7? 7 accelerating away from the same area of the racetrack. I wonder if Pepper got to the inside of this 3 car and sent him.
That is the number 3 Motorsport USA McLaren GT4 entry. And there's something's wrong with this car. Oh! Right rear.
You could see it grabbing down the straightaway as Pepper was just trying to feel it out. So right rear, look at that.
Broken.
So I'd imagine that Pepper must have slid to the inside possibly, or if the McLaren spun and he got into him. Can't believe it. Cannot believe it. The frustration right there. You're just amped up. You're ready to go. Your teammate's just done a brilliant job. And suddenly at the last moment, drama.
And now the full course caution does appear. It was inevitable. So, see if we can pick it out here. In the back. Yeah. That looked to be exactly it. I'm not sure that McLaren, maybe Cal, realized that Jordan was going around the outside.
Right. Here we go. Connor De Filippi. First real hot laps of the day. He's been the hot man this weekend in terms of grabbing the pole, but feels the pressure immediately from Yololi right behind him in the sister BMW.
He moves to the center of the track, just trying to dissuade Yololi from trying anything. And you can see the far outside, those lefts, if you got up by the wall, still pretty damp up there. I think Connor was betting on that. Oh, a big moment here for the number 20 of Haaland. What a save.
Yeah, just got on the brakes. Maybe the brake bars was not been reset for these dry conditions. Typically, when it starts to rain, Greg, you wind the brake bars to the rear so you don't lock up the fronts. Maybe that adjustment had been made, and when he got on the brakes, maybe he had too much rear brake in it.
Boy, and look at Shelby Blackstock taking advantage of the little bit of confusion. He went around at least 3 or 4 cars. The 2 BMWs, then the lap car, the 75 at this stage. Then look at this, way down to the inside is Balzan going by a number of the GT4 machines, tucks right in behind the 93 of Blackstock.
Timed that perfectly. They're showing his experience there, a 3-time GT champion. And a big battle here, the Bimmer World Redline Oil red and white machine there, duking it out with the GMG Audi. That's the blue machine.
That's for the lead, I think, in that category. Clay going around Tan and Safronis.
Drying racetrack. See some fast times here immediately, I would think. Fastest lap of the day was Jordan Pepper on wet tires at 1:30.8. That compares with a pole time of 1:23.
And I think we're going to be into the 120s here in real short order at this stage. De Filippi just sets his personal best.
He looks to the inside. Connor takes it in a little bit deeper on the brakes. We'll start to get into a rhythm now. Yololi has been out there for a little bit. Connor just getting his first green flag laps.
Boy, and look at this cue here. Here comes the 04, Colin Brown. He was really struggling on slicks in this wet track. Now it's drying up enough. He's going to be quick. Gets around Clay. Look at this great little battle in the GT4 category as the number 30 under racing accurate down into the pits, Mario Fahnbacher. And that it's, to me, it's kind of almost amazing. We've seen a few spins you don't see often by Colin Brown. Some spins and some issues, penalty as well, and yet they find themselves leading in the Pro-Am category. 2-car race here into the final few minutes of this championship. This number 20 Porsche runs at GT World Challenge America, but isn't entered in it for this category here. And he is going to be ducking into the pits, Jan Halen is, and taking some service. So coming up here, the clock is about to expire on the 3-hour race within a race. So watching for that 04, here he comes, and Colin Brown along with George Kurtz winning this segment here in the Pro-Am category for GT World Challenge America, powered by AWS. And a great drive and a great way to end the season.
Don't roll in and celebrate just yet.
Yeah. But there's 8 or 5 hours more in this 8-hour race, which they're still relatively well placed to do. But there is that number 1 Hublot Ferrari of Martin Fuentes, who has already clinched, and when he comes through, he will be able to say that he clinched a championship at Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
That is sweet. That is really cool.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they'll have photographers already ready to take the snaps there, crossing the line over the yard of bricks. Pretty cool stuff. A, to compete here, but to clinch a championship. Some special stories down the road for Martin, his family, and his kids as well, I'm sure.
Absolutely. And he's a family man extraordinaire. The photos in particular during the lockdown of how he was entertaining and spending time with his kids. To have this story for them to be able to know as well. Here he comes onto the front straight, completing the GT World Challenge America powered by AWS season and champion, Martin Fuentes. And again, he was absolutely supported incredibly well all season long by Rodrigo Baptista, not able to come and race here. Alessandro Balzan drafted in. But I'm sure Martin would say this is as much Rodrigo's championship as it is his.
Here's a late move down to the inside for David Askew. Really commits down there, but the yellow Ferrari is back out there after that incident early in the race.
And something let go right as he got into turn 6, and he's now pulled over. I think that's the outside of turn 7. That'd be about the outside of turn 9. Or actually, the inside of 10.
Yeah, he took quite a whack when he lost control there going through 14, got him into the outside wall coming off the front straightaway. So maybe they repaired a lot of the suspension work and body work, but maybe as a half shot for someone that took a shot, could be driveline issue.
Well, where he's parked, that to me is a sketchy spot, because that's one of those corners where the drivers oftentimes will square up and get their left side tires on the curb, so their rights are way inside of that curb, and that's right where he's sitting. And the safety car is coming out as a result. Well, I think we may have gotten a wave around, and that group of cars is way back behind these two leaders as David Pittard leads onto the front straight as the green flag flies. We are back to green flag racing here with Connor DeFilippi in tow. Then the next car is the ST Racing, number 438, leading in GT4. Samantha Tan back behind the wheel as we head down into turn 1 behind them. Here's the big compression here. That number 04 to touch. Wow, he got tapped, didn't he? Sabo just lost track of his braking zone, I think.
Yeah, just got in there deep. And with these cars with ABS braking, if you activate that, suddenly your pedal just goes numb. It's effectively taking braking pressure away from you so you don't lock the tires up. And when you had nowhere to go, let's take another look at it. Deep on the brakes. Just gets into the back of the CrowdStrike entry. The 04 car of Ben Keating now behind the wheel. He manages to keep control.
You saw some debris flying up in the air. I think that may be more off of that right front splitter area. Let's see. Yeah, it's just little shards of that, I think, were what came up. Hopefully it wasn't off that diffuser on the back of the 04. That could certainly upset things here, Cal.
great news is I think that FARFUS was maybe one of those cars that got that wave around, because
he was, yeah.
He is now back on the lead lap. Certainly off a little bit in terms of fuel strategy compared to the BMWs, but that's a big gain for them.
Yeah, they're on the lead lap. They didn't catch the back of the field before it went green, so there's still a bit of a deficit, but they are much better placed than they were previously, for sure, here at Indianapolis. And just working their way around Chandler Hull. Third car in your frame, who sits second in the GT4 category. Oh, and a problem for the 75. Kenny Habul, and he's not going to be able to clear that. Oh, this is just going to go from bad to worse. He's got to now try and find reverse, and that is wet, slippery grass here, but does the job. There's so many sequences that you have to push on these steering wheels now to select different gears and find reverse. Just got away from him.
Yeah, I think he was running a little bit wide there and just pinched it a little bit, so he didn't get up and on the wet curbing there, and car got away from him.
Smart for him right there to release the brake and get those wheels to start tracking, as the car was angled a little bit backward and kept him out of that wall. It's a nice reaction to it here. And look at this. As soon as that refueling's done, boom, the disconnect for the grounding wire happens, and they go after it, and it is a well choreographed dance.
That it is, and it really takes perfection. The minimum times and maximum times, they are set in such a way where you do have to perform as a pit crew. If you do your job, you're sitting around, and maybe it looks like it's easier, but the fact of the matter is, it does require a great deal of performance from these pit crews. So here we got the BMWs in pit lane once again pitting together. They're running together, I think, kind of a wingman situation, right, Greg? And the two together have been orchestrating this race perfectly.
Absolutely, and just a great driver lineup across all of or both of the cars, and I think we've been very impressed with the speed of St. David Petard. I don't have anywhere near the experience of some of these guys, but able to not just run with Connor, but able to race him pretty hard a few times. Car down off the jacks, and that's the good news. That sits for just a little bit, and away it goes. And you know that 35 crew was just hoping that maybe they'd be able to get the jump, and weren't quite able to do it. And these guys have just been flying in formation all day, and they're still at it.
You kind of get the sense that it's going to take something like that on pit lane to get the jump. My conversation with Augusto Farfus, he didn't say there were team orders, but he did say, look, we need to remember what the big picture here is. And Intercontinental GT Challenge, as much as the Drivers' Championship does matter, this is in large part a championship for the manufacturers to showcase their customer racing programs. So they're definitely going to be thinking about that. They've got that in mind, and I'm not sure we're going to see these two duking it out to the finish, given those circumstances.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. I mean, they'll say, yeah, you're free to race, but they always say just don't hit each other. Well, if you're really racing hard, that's always the risk. That's big right there. Van der Zande able to knife through, and that's going to put him back on that lead lap. So that was absolutely huge for Renger to sneak through at that point. It was really close, but he got the job done. Boy, Tomczyk rolling some speed up through 14. Got a great run through that corner. See if it's enough to do anything, catch any kind of a toe off that Acura here. Down into one. Renger thinks he might be thinking about it. Sold him the dummy a little bit. And Connor went, oh, but Renger overshoots just enough. Connor's through. So he got in his mirrors enough to distract him.
Yep, you saw that setting up there on the front straightaway, and look, well, that was out of class battle there, and that's what these two are going to be running into. We do have some GT4 traffic in a moment, and maybe that'll bring the BMW back to Renger van der Zande just a little bit. But again, the aggression from Connor, he has just been on it. Full-on attack, it would seem, all weekend long, and has yet to put a wheel wrong, which gives you a great deal of confidence as a race car driver.
No, it truly does here as he's working through, as you said, some of that multi-class traffic. Here we go again. And you can see him. He swings out. He got a great run. It all set up at the exit of 13. And he was looked to sell the dummy here. Right there. And right there, you could just see Renger a little bit late, wasn't he?
That's all it takes. Marcus has been able to reel him back in. In fact, on that, he's taking a look here, as a matter of fact. Gone wide, perhaps, over that curve just a little bit. Got up to the inside, and this is the best chance Marcus has had. Really deep on the brakes. You can see the car squirming, and he gets the job done. All credit to Ben. I know he wants to keep him behind as long as possible. But ultimately, that's not for class position, so he'll settle back in line.
Yeah, and the stewards may take a look at that. I mean, they're saying you have to have one part of that Pirelli P0 on the blue and white curbing if you're going to exceed those track limits. That was kind of right on the margin there, but he did gain position in the next corner, so that may be one where they say give it back, but we'll have to wait and see if there's a message come up.
And we'll be on the lookout for that as we've crossed the 3 hours to go mark, and drama's here. That is the number 63 car, Ryan Dial at the wheel, beached in the sand trap. This is the beginning part of the lap.
We take a look at some of the highlights that have unfolded here. And of course, as always, at the start of a major international endurance race, some pomp and circumstance, then the American flag waved for this race at Indianapolis on the Intercontinental GT Challenge. And early on, as a matter of fact, as that flag waved, the raindrops started falling, and then it became who was going to blink first. One of the cars, this one, the number 30, a mega drive by Jordan Pepper in the Bentley.
Just amazing. They talked about the car not being suitable to the conditions. Well, he made a liar out of all of us for that, and then Rich Beck just gets it a little bit wrong, hits that puddle, trying to steer out of it, and gets it wrong into the fence. Major suspension damage to the left-hand side of the Vital Speed Ferrari.
They got it fixed. It came out, but had another issue. On the restart then, coming up on the back of one of the cars running in the GT4 category, the leader in the class. Beautiful move down to the inside by the number 30 Acura, but it was the spray in the background and watching some of the moves develop, and somehow in all of this, everybody was able to get through unscathed. First of 2 problems for that left rear corner on this number 93 Acura.
Yeah, it just seemed to get to a point where the track was drying, and if cars stayed out there on worn, wet weather tires, and then a big move here by Martin Tomczak, grabbing the lead from Dane Cameron.
Boy, that was an aggressive move down into turn number 13, made it stick. And then the tire dance happened again, coming in, going to slicks, but for some, it was going to rain again, so then they had to get back onto the wet tires. The one team that seemed to read everything perfectly is Valkenhorst.
They really have. They've been on top of it. A couple of calls they made where they've allowed the 30 to get back on the lead lap. You could question that, but nonetheless, they've been running their own race and doing a brilliant job of it.
And here's that second issue, another cut tire at that left rear corner for the number 93 Acura Accelerated Services Racer's Edge machine. Then the moment of the race here, there in the background, Jordan Pepper getting tapped by the McLaren, both of them broken.
Yeah, that was a shame, and I just had a message from Darren Law that Jordan went over and had a chat with the driver, and he said, I just lost track where I was on the racetrack, didn't brake for the corner, that's what resulted in the impact. And then you see suspension is damaged, broken. He tries to get the car wheel down, heading down into turn 7. His teammate just cannot believe it.
Came in here, obviously, points leaders in the category in the Intercontinental GT Challenge. Green flag, the 2 BMWs just took off for a little bit here, built up a sizable margin, and Jan Halen gets a little sideways under braking, a mega save, but that could have been really, really ugly. And then these BMWs starting to work traffic, and a very opportunistic move here by Nicky Aloli.
Yeah, 2 teammates working well together. I mean, Connor was vulnerable there, working through traffic, and Yaloli just sticks it down to the inside and put in a nice little run there, stretching the gap initially.
That little wiggle by Connor DiFilippi as we're watching a battle for the lead in the GT4 category with GT3 traffic coming up as well. This was just a big scrap to be sure.
Phil Bloom there dives down the inside, takes the lead, then a battle for second. Here comes Patrick Gallagher. Gets down inside of the Bimmerwell machine, and then he just took off from everyone.
Yeah, by the time he got out of the car, he had opened up 18-second margin, I think. And then Kenny Habul, big spin here, released the brake at just the right time to use the momentum of the car to back it away from that wall. Took him a while to get turned around and going, but at least he kept it out of the fence.
He did. Meanwhile, up front, BMW seemed to be in control, hitting their strategy. We had a yellow that took away some of their advantage. They still have track position, but certainly the 30 car is back in the game.
There's the number 34 back out, and this was when Renger van de Zende just was able to ease in front, got to the lead, wasn't able to hang on to it, but boy, did he put in a fight, and it was that little juke there, just got Renger in the mirrors for a second. He ran wide.
Yeah, just fighting it, tried to get down a little bit deeper, probably got on the ABS, missed the corner a little bit. Ben Keating there getting in the back of Sofronis, turns in briefly, and then some kind of technical issue on the left rear corner for the number 63 DXDT machine.
And precipitated a caution, and then as action got going once again, quick spin by George Kurtz, and really that has been for him his only blot on the copybook. He's otherwise been running some really stellar laps. Ben Keating has been incredibly impressive in that car as well as one of the AM drivers, so that brings us back to live here. You know, Nicky CATSBURG, he has just sort of put a real exclamation point at this stage as he's opened that lead up over Yaloli now to over 22 seconds. So that number 34 BMW, it's just hooked up, and the drivers have done a brilliant job, and CATSBURG has just been just supreme here.
Yeah, he really has. I mean, that fast lap over 23.3 is pretty rocking in race conditions. So the team have beat, and they have executed very well. They rolled off the truck, weren't really happy with the balance of the cars the first day, but boy, did they turn it around overnight and was super strong. Come pre-qualifying, qualifying, and the pole shootout, which Connor DeFilippi took.
Absolutely, as I'm watching Miller, his trying a little different line through 13. Watching what Andrew Davis was doing and then trying just counter. Wasn't trying to pass him, but just trying to get a scenario. Oh, and Andrew's in hot.
Yeah, Robin just overshot the corner there a little bit.
Robin, sorry.
I saw him. I saw the nose go down. I think, man, he is really pushing there, really late on the brakes, and you just get to the point where the ABS is going to kick in a little bit, and it just takes away the braking ability, stops the tires from locking up. Let's take another look at it there. Watch the nose come down.
Yeah. He was real deep down into that first turn. Cost the moment there, and of course Miller wasting no time. Here's a look at the leader in the GT4 category. Again, legendary BMW pilot Bill Auberlen in that Redline Oil Optima Batteries Bimmer World BMW M4 GT4, shared with Chandler Hull and team principal and very adept race car driver James Clay, who won a touring car championship Saturday morning right here at Indianapolis, having a really strong run. Had that margin up to 25 seconds when this last stint started. Bill now has dropped off his pace a little bit, just making sure that he's not making any mistakes, bringing this car home. Second place in the category, now 12.5 seconds back to number 438, ST Racing, GPI Biotech, and Kappa Foods, BMW M4 GT4 of ST Racing, and Nick Whitmer behind the wheel of that machine, chasing that beautiful BMW of Bill Auberlen, and then about 2.5 seconds now behind Whitmer, third in the class, the number 2 GMG Racing Porsche, the Frost NYC 13 Angry Men entry, now in the hands of Robin Liddell, shared by Andrew Davis and of course Jason Bell. So that's how the runners are at this stage as we are heading into our final 1 minute of this race. There's that Bimmer World team. There's Chandler right in the center of the frame, and there's James. You can see that James is in fact a large guy because Chandler's fairly tall too.
Yeah, James is certainly a big boy, but he gets his elbows out when he's behind the wheel. But Bill Auberlen is certainly allowing that gap at the front to drop down here significantly in these last few laps. Just managing it, I'm sure. Still at 11.5 seconds, so as long as he's not taking any risks to do those lap times, he's in great shape. Here we see Nicky CATSBURG up on the wheel, still fighting it a little bit, just wringing its neck. Just excellent lap times. He's just been in a rhythm.
He really has.
Just clinical precision through traffic here today, as well as we see the white flag.
They run across that yard of bricks as we are on the final lap. You see Colin Brown as he was coming up, as CATSBURG was coming up behind him. Colin just almost moved over and waved him by. It's like, yeah, put us down another lap, and that's just fine with us at this stage. Enjoy your moment. And CATSBURG and this BMW program are going to do exactly that. Just a phenomenal run. And as things sit right now, a 1-2 for BMW in the GT3 category, and potential 1-2 for BMW in GT4. That's a good day for the propellers.
You could say Nicky's in the CATSBURG seat, right?
You could. I believe you just did. And he has been ever since he crawled behind the wheel. He's just been off in his own little zone here for a lot of this race, and just doing a stunning job here. Last time through that tricky turn 10 up through 11.
Great to see the sun come out and shine on this BMW as he brings it home through the final few corners. Excellent execution by the Vulcan Horse team.
just exceptional as he works through turn 13 one more time now on that legendary on-ramp, feeding through 14 and up onto the front straight here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. BMW winning the inaugural 8 hours. The Indianapolis 8 hours in an absolutely superb run with Valkenhorst Motorsports. And they, in fact, are going to make it a 1-2, waiting for Nicky Loli in the number 35 car to come by. We are watching right now, again, for Bill Oberlin on board the Bimmer World BMW. He, too, just a couple of corners will add to his phenomenal win record, will bring it home for Bimmer World, James Clay and Chandler Hull, and a sweep by BMW of both of the categories here in the inaugural Indianapolis 8-hour. Look at that celebration down at the wall. Well-deserved indeed. Just a great one. There's the 35 of Yaloli coming through, completing the Valkenhorst BMW 1-2 sweep in the GT3 overall category. So here a look at the provisional results. After 8 hours of racing here, there you see the top two, the BMWs from Valkenhorst Motorsports. And then one lap down at the end, the number 30 Acura of Cameron, Farnbacher, and Van der Zande. And then Winkelhock, Bortolotti, and Pompelli in the Audi. And then, of course, the winners in Pro-Am, as we said, the Mercedes of Kurtz, Colin Brown, and Ben Keating as they come across the line. And I'll tell you what, the other thing here is some great racing in the Pro-Am category. Balzan finishing second in the Hublot Ferrari, the 75 of Grenier third, 8th and 9th overall. Then Oberlin, top 10 overall, as he brings it home in the win in the GT4 category. And there were some certainly in that GT4 category. Patrick Gallagher, not for some problems with pit stops and regulations and such. At one point, he had a huge lead built up on this field. And Andy Lee in that number 8 car had proven to be very quick. And as we said, that what-if scenario, that number 7 Bentley there, that's, I think, a huge story, because they were showing some real pace as this one unfolded. Really unfortunate for them, ending up 17th in the run order, Cal.
Yeah, and I think they're 10th in class in terms of the GT3 standing, so that will give them just a solitary point, but should maintain the championship lead as they head to Spa in a few weeks' time.
Wow, what a remarkable run it has been for BMW and for Nicky CATSBURG. A win at the Nürburgring, and now a win here at Indianapolis for BMW, Nicky. How special have these last 2 weeks been?
Yeah, to be honest, very special. Obviously nice to have back-to-back wins. Yeah, today was easier than expected somehow. My teammates did a fantastic job. Conor De Filippi, Augusto Farfus at the start. No mistakes, which was the key to success at the Nordschleife. And again today, so thank you so much to my teammates, Augusto and Conor, the team Valkenhorst. Unbelievable job, no mistakes, and I only had to bring it back home.
Well, celebrations continue here, and we are going to get right down to Ryan Marine with our winners in GT4.
Well, the Bimmer World car's got a mind of its own. It's back, headed back to the paddock. These guys are about to celebrate. Chandler Hall, we'll start with you. You told me earlier this would mean a ton. You've done it. You've won an endurance race, and you've done it at Indy.
Yeah, once Bill got in, it was probably the most nerve-wracking half hour of my life so far. I was just pacing back and forth, just waiting, hoping everything would be okay, and leave it to this guy. He brought it home perfect, and so happy.
You might have been nervous. I suspect you were cool as a cucumber, Bill.
Oh, yeah, cool. I mean, these guys did exactly what we said. Keep it clean. Give me at least a 5-minute lead, and we're going to be good. They did such a great job. They were way out front, gaming it, and it was just a cruise home to the end. Thanks to Bimmer World, thanks to Redline Oil, thanks to Optima Batteries for giving us all we needed to win today.
And James, for Bimmer World to be in victory lane at Indianapolis, what is the significance of the achievement?
Man, it's great to be back here. We've been here before, but this is, to me, the most meaningful. To drive with these guys, it was just fantastic, and today was just a great time, and I loved it. What a day, what a race.
Great performance. Thank you, guys. Congratulations.
An absolutely remarkable run, but we're not done with the Intercontinental GT Challenge. Remember, October 22nd through the 25th, it is the legendary Total 24 Hours of Spa from Belgium. Make sure and enjoy that one as well. Take care.